Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday Eve. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Fumble Live. We've got so much to talk about. I am putting another hash mark into the reason why I don't like Baker Mayfield. We're going to talk about that first, but we're also going to talk about maybe Drake will have a WNBA team. I am so excited about that. Chris is going to tell us more about that. But before we get into all that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And now here's the Fumble Squad. I'm your girl, Jackie Ray. You can follow me on all things social media at Jerry the Fanatic.
It's your boy Chris. You can find me everywhere at CK2K. And yes, it is a fine Thursday, and I'm ready to talk about this first need to know news.
Me too. So let's just dive right into it. Because we kind of teased it yesterday. I don't know who it was in the chat that pointed it out that Odell was excused yesterday. And then when I woke up, I got another notification that he had been excused again. But we've talked at length about this situation for a long time. It seems like for at least the last year. This absolutely should have been resolved before the November 2nd deadline. There's no way that the Browns did not know that he was disgruntled. This whole thing is just a little weird to me. Every single sports show on the planet has talked about it. Commentators during the game have talked about it. They just do not utilize Odell the way that they should. So here's the first thing that kind of irritates me about this situation. And I'm just going to read you some quotes here because Baker Mayfield is lying. He's lying. I don't like the man, but let me just tell you what he said. He says he was baffled and kind of mortified about the 11-minute video that Odell's dad put up showing all the times that Baker has been trashed when it comes to Odell. And he says, quote, I've had conversations with his dad before, man to man, face to face, and I'm pretty surprised by the video and the intentions and the feelings behind it. When he was asked if he was intentionally not getting Odell the ball, he first kind of just dodged it and said, well, I know his dad wants him to succeed and I want him to succeed. And the reporters were like, yeah, but are you intentionally not getting him the ball? And he says, I'd be lying if I said otherwise. That's not an answer.
Wait, what? Oh, I missed that part.
Yeah, so I'm like, what? I don't think you understand how that phrase goes.
Yeah.
That's not the right answer.
That's not how that works. Right.
That's not the right answer. So that infuriated me. And I'm like, oh my goodness. But yes, Odell is out again today. And he has asked to stay home while his agent, Zeke Sandua, I believe is how you say his last name, and the Browns GM, Andrew Berry, works through a resolution to the situation. But this is why I'm infuriated with this. Because, again, Browns organization knew he wanted a trade. So when we're looking at the Von Miller situation, the Broncos are eating half of I don't want to say half, but a good chunk of Von Miller's contract so that he could go to L.A. So that way there's no salary cap issues. The Browns basically refused because, Odell has a huge contract. They basically refused to eat any part of his contract, which is why the trade didn't work out with New Orleans. So this pisses me off because now you're in this situation that you could have avoided. This happens all the time, just so you guys know. It's not a situation where teams don't do that in order to get somebody off their books. So I'm going to start with that one, because like I said, this one could have been resolved. It should have been resolved. But when you hear that there was an opportunity for them to resolve it, what are your first thoughts on that, Chris?
I just think of what's his name, Daryl Morey and the Sixers. This just seems similar, except I don't know, except that the Browns have a player who is cooperating, because that was the whole thing for me too. Because he allegedly was ready to go to practice, ready to do his thing. He was suited up, booted, ready to do what he has to do. And then they said, hold on, player. We don't need you right now. And then they decided to, get him out of practice. So, yeah, the Browns are very 76ers-ish right now with how they handle this entire thing, because I completely agree with you. They should have handled this by November 2nd. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't want to hear the deal wasn't good enough. Nah, the deal you were going to get would have been good enough, because it's not like you're going to use a receiver that you're paying all this money to anyways. Yes, I'm a Saints fan. I'm salty that they didn't agree to that deal with us. But at the same time, I would have loved to see Odell go anywhere where he's actually going to be used. Jackie, after we talked about our show yesterday, I'm so upset that I didn't even talk about it during the show. I was curious, right? I'm like, you know what? We talking about Odell. We want to free Odell, this, that, and the third. And I was like, what were his actual stats? Now, mind you, I know he missed a few games to start off the season. Odell only has 276 yards for the season. Yep. He had 2 receptions last game and 1 the game before. He's been healthy since the beginning of the season. He gotta go. Like it was fun, haha. Before, no, he really gotta go. Now I'm not gonna jump the full. I'm not 100% with you, Jackie, but I'm definitely 75% with you on the Baker conversation. I do think that we got to give some respect to Baker because the Browns were struggling until Baker came there. But when it comes to Odell, there's something missing between the two of them. We saw the videos and stuff where they pretended to be friends, and maybe they are cool in real life. But for whatever reason, I don't know if he watched too many scary movies growing up and he just believes in Friday the 13th. He does not see the number 13 in orange when he is playing every Sunday, Monday, or Thursday. That's just the way it is. So you got to move him. And for him to talk about being baffled by his dad putting the thing, look, man, I would do the same damn thing. I don't care how close I am with you. I think you a good kid, whatever. You ain't getting my son the ball. I'm gonna flip on the LeVar Ball switch so quick. Yeah. So I don't be baffled. And his answer to it was rubbish. I didn't even hear that until you just mentioned that, which is probably a good thing. But yeah, the Browns are not handling this well at all. They did not handle this that well. Now they're going to have to lose money by releasing him because they didn't want to trade him by the deadline for anything. They could have had a draft pick or two. They could have some draft picks, but now they're going to lose money releasing them, and that's no one's fault besides themselves. Yeah, crazy. He got to go.
Let me get you 80% on my side because Baker just kept putting his foot in me. So he said, because he's basically saying that this situation with Odell is hurting the team. Not the fact that he can't get the ball to Odell, but this situation. So he said, this is a quote. He said, I would take anything to have a winning team right now. Our focus needs to be on winning. Anything like this stuff that's created outside drama, the outside drama-wise takes away from the focus and the attention to detail that we need to have, which is exactly the reason why we haven't been able to win. We haven't executed well enough. Who the hell is we? Who is we? When does he step up and take responsibility for the fact that, yes, I would have had more respect for him, and I think even maybe Odell and Odell's dad would have dialed it back a little bit if he said, you know what? I have literally faltered when it comes to utilizing Odell. I haven't gotten him the ball in good situations. I haven't even looked his way several times. I don't know what that is, but we definitely need to work on that as a team and go forward. So not only Odell can be successful, but we can be successful as a team. I'm telling y'all, somebody need to hire me to write what y'all say to the media. Because y'all be out here saying the absolute wrong thing. It just don't make no sense. But that saying, and then he also went on to say that this is just an unfortunate circumstance, what's going on. We have to multitask instead of just being able to focus on winning, and has created something on the outside. So he's basically going to blame. So if they go out here and lose, he's going to go out and say it was because of this outside noise. So how you feel about that? Does that put you 80% on my side now? Because that was a ridiculous comment.
78. And that's the thing. The majority of the Baker, my Baker disgruntledness from my Baker quote unquote hate is because of his OBJ situation. Because I'm sorry. I feel like he has helped the Browns be a better team. But now will they be a winning team? That part I don't know if Baker's gonna go that far. But for we got to remember where the Browns were at. What were you calling them when you first came to the Fumble when I first made exactly? Purgatory, right? But since then, and since with Baker, they've been a playoff team right before the trade, and then since the trade. So I can't fully jump off, on Baker just yet, but it is a full 78% because of how he's handling this Odell thing. Because you were gifted a two-man combo of the best friends, Jarvis Landry and Odell, and then along the way with Hooper as a crazy upcoming tight end. You got Njoku, who you also, the OG Odell, who you did not know how to get the ball to. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. So those things irritate me, but I can't fully jump out the window on Baker just yet. Not yet. When we still got Ben Roethlisberger playing quarterback, I can't do it yet. Not yet.
Well, Ben is old. At least he got an excuse. I'm old.
Yeah, that was an unnecessary shot. I'm sorry, Ben. You're right. That's disrespectful. I'm sorry, Ben. My fault.
Yeah. And I don't know how long you guys have been rocking with the Fumble, but I have been calling when Odell went to Cleveland. What did I say? I said they're going to be kings of the North because now you have this amazing receiver that you can get the ball to. And then Baker was like, we ain't going to be kings of nothing because I ain't going to get him the ball. So now that's why I'm about it because your expectations do have to be a little high when you have a quarterback that you think is decent, and then you bring in this immense talent like Odell, and then like you said, you add him to his bestie, and now you're like, oh no, this is gonna be problems, and it hasn't been a problem yet. So I don't know. I really hope that it does end up where Odell is released. I think that it's exactly what you said. It becomes a problem for the Browns in that aspect because now you're going to end up losing money no matter how that situation goes. Either way, they said no matter what's happening right now, the plan is to create an exit strategy. So is that like a Aaron Rodgers exit strategy where, yes, you play out this season and then we'll do something at the end? Is it like you said, you're going to lose money, you're either going to pay him out, or what's going to happen, we don't know. But I think the Browns need to be embarrassed as to how they handled this situation because it was just.
We on week 9, and I don't know if you saw the tweet, but allegedly, coach, what's his name? I don't know. Stefanski, is that their coach? He told the team that they're pulling the Ben Simmons card, that they're going to move forward as if Odell is not on the team, and we're on week 9. So if they don't release them and they're gonna try to ride this wave out until the end of the season, their team is not gonna go very far. So I agree, they're gonna have to bite the very expensive bullet, and they're gonna have to release him. And before we move on, I want to know where you think he should go if he does get released.
Clear them waivers and come to New Orleans. What you mean?
Okay, outside of our Saints, because that's my answer too. But outside of the Saints, where else do you think makes sense?
Think about nobody outside of the Saints, but let me think for a second.
I hear you. As Odell fans, or we want to see him do, I can go first while you think about it. I think a good
go back to New York. If I'm being honest, I think he should go back to the Giants.
The Giants? Oh,
yeah.
Eli not there no more though, Jackie.
I know, but see, the thing is he made Eli look good. Eli wasn't that good. He made Eli look good. So I think now you
got that little boost.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
okay.
Kevin Lang said nobody with the Raiders. The Raiders organization right now needs a whole overhaul before I put anyone.
They need right. Raiders need other things figured out before they could talk about a star player in him. I think both of my answers are selfish. So I don't know if I should play along because my answer is either going to be my Saints or my answer is going to be you got to go give my rookie quarterback a weapon in Justin Fields. Yeah, so that my other one. I don't want to give any help to old boy. Oh my goodness, I do not know any coaching names today. Nagy. I don't want to give Nagy no help to help him keep a job, but I do want to see Justin Fields have some weapons and see if he can get some done over there. But the Giants, I'm not against it. Right now, it's a wide receiver graveyard for that team right now. All the receivers going out like the plague, but I ain't against it. I think Danny Dimes is a lot better than people are giving him credit for because, look, man, he ain't got anything right now, So I'm not against it. I'm not against it. Oh, I take it back. Chargers, Justin Herbert. Okay, I'm done. Let's move on. To post up. Give him to Justin Herbert.
Thought about that because Ty said that first, and I'm like, the Chargers would be great. I'm very much against Mighty Axel, who says the Buccaneers. They got way too much over there. No. And the Jets are the new purgatory. So, I don't know if they knew. They've always been purgatory. So, absolutely not the Jets. So, I agree. Yeah. I'm going to go with Giants or Chargers or us. Those are my 3.
Yeah. Yep. Saints, Bears, or Chargers. Go Chargers number 1, though. Give them to Justin Fields. Yes. Oh, Justin Fields. Justin Herbert. See, I like the Justins. I don't know what it is. Justin squad over here. I don't know what it is.
Okay, Chris, take us into the post-up.
Yes, on this fine Thursday, on the words of Miss Jack A. Friday Eve. I got post up for y'all here today. And it's going to be a fun one. It's a short one, but it's going to be a fun one. I don't know. I guess you guys like my storybook reading skills from yesterday that we're going to have to bring them back today because I have another story to read for you guys today. If you haven't heard, there have been rumors, but it's not really rumor because I guess a lot of this did happen, but the rumor part of it is LeBron James trying to coerce Damian Lillard to come to the Los Angeles Lakers. We knew that there was going to we know LeBron. We knew there was going to be some sort of canoodling, some little like elbow bump when we found out that Damian Lillard was going to be in Space Jam, right? So we knew there was going to be something along those lines. But some people think he went full recruiting mode. Damian Lillard came out and said that it was nothing like that. But we have a 4-page Twitter story that I want to read to y'all. That breaks down the whole situation, the whole meetup. So sit down. We don't have music for this yet again, but we are going to talk about a hangout that happened between LeBron and Damian Lillard. And let me know if you think this is recruiting or not. Is he lay recruiter or is he just LeBron James, Damian Lillard's friend? All right. That's for you, MH. Classic CK throat clear. All right. The day before Lillard was to shoot his music video, he made a surprise appearance at a WNBA game featuring the Los Angeles Sparks and Las Vegas Aces. Upon arriving, Los Angeles Lakers star LeBron James was already sitting courtside. On the way to his seat, James stood up to acknowledge his Space Jam: A New Legacy cast member. The two shook hands and exchanged laughs. That's two of them laughing. Later that evening, James sent Lillard an invitation to his mansion in Brentwood. Uh-oh. He was like, pull up. Let's have lunch and let's talk shop, Lillard told Yahoo Sports. So I pulled up. Next slide. The 6'3" guard. What?
Pull a bone, man. I thought you were going to.
Yeah. Pull a bone. I got to get back here. Sorry. The 6'3" guard caught an Uber from his hotel to James's house. After security opened the gate for the vehicle to enter the property, Lillard was met at the door by a house staffer. LeBron got house staffers? God, man, to be rich. Sorry. Lillard was met at the door by a house staffer who escorted him through the living room and into the elevator. The destination was the... I'm saying, I'm just like, we're talking about LeBron's house, but LeBron James, we got to remember who we're talking about. The destination was the rooftop. When the elevator reached the top floor, James and fellow Lakers star Anthony Davis were sitting on one side of the table waiting for Lillard to join them on the other side before they fully dove into lunch of an Italian salad followed by pasta and a fine bottle of rosé wine. James kicked off the conversation detailing his experience living in Los Angeles. Strike one. Next slide. Lillard did not categorize the meeting as a platform for a recruiting presentation, but rather an information gathering forum amongst respected peers. Lillard said, Bron asked what I was thinking of with my situation, and I told him what I'm telling you, that I just want to be in a position to win it all, Lillard told Yahoo Sports. He painted the picture to me that if I were to leave, the situation could look like this. He didn't tell me to come to LA, and he didn't say anything to me that I didn't already know other than what it could look like. I told him, I know if I were to play with y'all, I know it would work out because of my skill set and who I am and who they are. They all addressed their respective first-round losses and what each team needed to improve its roster. Davis explained his transition to Southern California. Lillard expressed his hesitancy to join any iteration of a super team. Last slide.
Oh, God.
Last one. Lillard promised to keep them posted on what he decided to do, but the Lakers were already privately evaluating their options on potentially landing Lillard, sources said. While Lillard waited for his Uber, James showed him the rest of his house and around the backyard. The Uber showed up after 20 or so minutes and whisked Lillard away.
Whisk?
That's what it said. This much was clear. There was no way Trailblazers president of basketball operations Neil O'Shea would ever trade Lillard to the Lakers. Fact. Though joining the Lakers wasn't at the top of his list, that Lillard took the meeting with James showed how much he respected the four-time NBA champion and how much he was receptive to the idea of trying something new. End scene. Now, I got to say, well put together. I hope 100% of that is true. I thought it was drama. It was, it wasn't biased on, LeBron James being full recruiter. And it seemed like a well-rounded full story. If this is all true, I think it is. I think it's about 95% true. I think that, they probably said a few more things. I was trying to bring him over to the Lakers, but here or there, whatever. This was kind of cool. Now, I don't really have a horse in this race because at the end of the day, like it said at the end of this entire story, there's no way in hell that the Blazers are going to follow in the Pelicans' footsteps and make any kind of trade package to bring Damian Lillard over there. But Jackie Ray, you're the LeBron James fan. You're the right now Lakers fan. What do you think about this?
I've never been whisked away by an Uber. I've only been stuck. That's my main takeaway. Like, nothing ever whisked me away. And the elevator. I need to get into LeBron James's house. I'm sorry. I know this is not the topic, but I was like, an elevator? Anywho. I don't see anything wrong with this situation. And I really do think, because I read all of these. I missed one because I didn't see the whisked part. But I read most of the quotes. And it came down to just respect for me. I think Dame realized the situation he was in. And I think for him, he kind of understood LeBron was in that situation in Cleveland. He had to go away and come back to make that make sense. But one of the things that stood out to me in everything that Dame said, Dame, in my opinion, is really ready to die on this horse. I think he's absolutely fine. I don't want to say he's fine with not winning a championship, but one of the last things he said was he was watching Giannis, when Giannis at that ring ceremony, and you and I talked about that, and the look on Giannis' face, you could just tell that there was a plethora of things. He really was just kind of taking it all in. He was really emotional. He didn't show any ounce of joy until his brothers were called out, and then it was like, okay, then he got that joy, or his brother was called out. But you could just tell he was just taking it all in, and like, I actually got here because there was a moment in time when we kind of was like, maybe Giannis should go somewhere else. You know, that was kind of the narrative. But he didn't. He stayed.
And all that stuff, right?
Yeah, he didn't. He stayed. He won the championship. And the last thing that Dame said in this whole thing was, you know, I want to feel that. I want to feel what that feels like to win a championship for a city against all odds. So for him, it's not about going to some place where you're expected to win. It's about bringing the championship to the city he loves, and he wants to win it for them. That's the most important. He said that would be a lifetime achievement for him. So I think in his mind, he kind of reached that crossroad, which I think we have to respect. It's like, okay, this might not happen here. So what should I do? Who else has been in this situation that can kind of give me some advice? So I think it was just a meeting of the minds. He was in a similar situation. We saw him cry when he got hit, and that was a different kind of cry. We've seen guys cry before, but that was like a man, I got this ring kind of cry. Yeah, I think he just see how that feels and what that mindset was from two guys who've been there. So I don't think this was any kind of tampering. Although I don't know, you take me into a house that got an elevator in it, I might be like, I can come over here and hang out with LeBron. I don't know.
I picture that like just like music, like smooth jazz in the background. They were upstairs, and he's like showing them the roof, and Dame lives behind him, and he's like, you know, Dame, Los Angeles ain't that bad. Like one of those kind of cells, telling them all about Los Angeles, trying to hint around what he's trying to get at. But no, I agree. I joke, but I didn't take anything away from this. You know, I think it was definitely a conversation where he genuinely gave him some advice, because both AD and LeBron were in similar situations. LeBron stayed in Cleveland before he finally went to Miami. People forget that part. He extended and stayed in Cleveland before he ultimately went to Miami. He gave as much as he could to that city when they stopped giving him back anything. They never gave him back anything, so he finally went on his way out. And eventually he did go back, and he did do what he ultimately wanted to do in winning one for the Cleveland Cavaliers. So LeBron understands that same exact feeling that we were talking about with Giannis. He got one for the place that he wanted to get it for, get it for them. But yeah, maybe they did have that conversation on, you know, as much as you want that, what's the next step? Maybe it isn't like you said, and like he said, maybe it isn't going to a super team and just winning a championship to say you won a championship. Maybe it's going to another city that is very similar, that is thirsty for one and would love for you to be a part of that. And maybe that's the move. That being said, we'll see you in the New York Knicks next season. All right, moving on to the next one. Lonzo Ball and the Chicago Bulls, as you know, not too long ago, played against his former team, the New I was waiting for you to respond. Played against his former team, the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I love this scouting report by Lonzo Ball. He kept it quick and precise. I don't know what else you expected. My favorite part was how everybody just waited for him to say more, but Lonzo was done. This is the quickest scouting report you're ever going to see in your life. So listen closely, and it's really accurate too. So listen closely or you'll miss it. Here we go. Take it away, Lonzo.
Ball facing his former team.
They don't really want to pass the ball. So Beyonce trying to get to the mid-range and kill wants to get to the left.
That's it. Let's practice. But damn, I felt that. That came from a serious place. Yeah, they don't like passing the ball. Take it from me. They took me out point guard. They don't want to pass the ball over there. Oh, yeah, and BI crazy. So make sure you're watching mid-range. All right, let's practice. That's it. Done. I guarantee you the coach, he probably had a longer speech on trying to help Lonzo be comfortable playing his former team. Like, so we're playing the Pelicans and Lonzo Ball, you know, you had a great few years. That's where you came out and you had a good shooting percentage. You played with these guys. They got good talent. Rah, rah, rah. You care to share a few words about the Pelicans? Yeah, they don't pass and BI is great. Here we go. Team on 3. That was it. But I saw this and I laughed. And yeah, Twitter was dying over this. You know, it was. I thought it was funny. It was short, sweet, to the point. I think that's right. Zion's not playing, so what else he gonna say? They don't pass the ball. We know that. Brandon Ingram's good. We know that. All right, on to the next. Like, I don't know.
It was like shots fired. It's like, ow. Like, okay.
Yeah. That came from place. Like, I felt that for Lonzo. All right. I'm
slowly starting to really like Lonzo. Slowly.
It's okay. When you're ready, you're more than welcome to come over here. It's whenever you're ready. I get it. You know, he's on a team where you finally see how he looks when he's on a team where he fits. So I get it. That's fine. That's fine. Not all of us. You know, some people got to see the house already done up before they actually, you know, to actually like it, rather than seeing it be a fixer upper. And you know, you didn't see the fixer upper like I did. Right.
I ain't got time.
You ain't got time for all that.
Cool. That's it.
I get you. Yeah. So now next up, we're sticking with basketball. We're going to Drake. Yeah, we're going to Drake because Drake is he has a proposition that I think a lot of us could agree with. I mean, especially if he becomes the owner of the team. I don't know if he'd be able to do it all by himself, but he'd be one of the main owners. I think it'd be kind of dope. And he wants to bring a WNBA team to Toronto. We know he plays a pretty big role in the Toronto Raptors as far as I think it was either brand ambassador is what it's called. And he's done a solid job with them over there. And now he wants to move over to ownership, and he wants to go and own a team in Toronto, WNBA team in Toronto. If I can get the first message up. What's going on, Marco? There it is. Drake wants to see an NBA team in Toronto. And he said, WNBA, I need a Toronto team. I think that'd be kind of cool. But this next one was the one that got people looking at the camera like, hold on, play, what you doing? Because if they are going to be in the works of getting the NBA team, WNBA team, excuse me, this is tampering. Especially if you're gonna be owner, you can't do this. This is, if y'all don't know, this is Liz Cambage of the Las Vegas Aces, Liz Cambage of Los Angeles Aces. As you can see, in his in the caption, he said, "Face of the franchise, my mini me." He's crossing his fingers because he's talking about the future Toronto team, face of his future franchise. But then I saw this tweet and I thought this was so out of pocket, but I laughed, so I had to share it with you guys. This response to this picture on Twitter. I'm sorry, but it was great. He said he recruiting for a team, but it ain't for no basketball team. And stupid. I was like, y'all take any opportunity. Because the minute I saw this picture, I'm like, here comes the memes. Somebody gonna take the opportunity. And this was my favorite one because this one had me dying. Because perfect choice with the doll. But yeah, I think it'd be cool to have a WNBA team if he owns it. It's not entirely sure that he's going to be the owner of it. He's just saying he would like one in Toronto, which I get. But I think it'd be cool. But I think it'd be even further if it was him that was one of the majority owners of the team. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, and technically, even if he is part owner, it's not tampering because said team does not yet exist.
Right, not yet. But I don't know. WNBA don't run like the NBA, but they could dig this up and be like, we knew you had intentions from the beginning.
What do we say all the time? Speak it into existence. That's not tampering.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, you fine.
Right. All right. And last but not least, we have Derek Carr and the oh god, I almost said Los Angeles Raiders. What am I in 2000? Where am I? The Las Vegas Raiders. Now we know the whole situation. We talked about it yesterday with Henry Ruggs, the very unfortunate situation with Henry Ruggs and the loss of a young 23-year-old lady and her dog. It's a sad story. But Derek Carr, he spoke out about Henry Ruggs. He kind of echoed the sentiment that Jackie had yesterday, and also sharing some worry and some thoughts and some feelings for Henry in this situation, because you understand that yes, he's in the wrong. Yes, what he did was bad, but you also you still looking for him to be able to get past this, as you know, health wise and as a person. We know that he's got a lot that he's going to deal with, you know, as far as jail and other things he's going to have to deal with. But as far as, you know, getting past it mentally and stuff like that, you know, Derek Carr expresses that he worried from it. He was wondering if there's anything else he could have done. And he had a whole press conference that I feel like was about 50-50, was taken about 50-50. I'm going to play it, and then I have also a response by Bomani, and I want to hear what the chat as well as Jackie has to say about what Derek Carr said. But here's Derek Carr's response to the whole Henry Ruggs situation.
I just didn't know if we were able to. Haven't reached out. I will always be here for him. That won't change, and I'll prove that over the course of time to him, not to anybody else. But he needs people to love him right now. He's probably feeling a certain type of way about himself right now, and he needs to be loved. And if no one else will do it, I'll do it.
And that was part. He said other things too. I didn't have a problem with this one, but Bomani, on top of this, I think he echoed what the majority I feel like we're feeling with this. He tweeted this out with the video. He said Carr caught hell for what he said about Gruden. Yes, but he's clearly a man who believes in the power of forgiveness and not turning his back on folks in these times. Even if he's not as mad as I might want him to be at sometimes, I get it. And I think that's how I feel about this too, because I mean it's true. Like, you know, he's feel how you want to feel about Henry Ruggs. I get it. Whether it's football, whether it's personally, because of what he did, what Carr said is not wrong. You know, Henry Ruggs is still he needs somebody to be his quarterback, because you know Henry Ruggs is probably killing himself about the whole entire thing as well. And that's not to say that anyone is not forgiving, but not anyone is condoning what he did was okay. But it's still, you know, have some empathy for the person to understand. Like, he's got to be going through stuff himself. Like, he took a life with his own ignorance. That's not something you want to live with. You know what I mean? So I get what Derek Carr is saying. And I think what Bomani said is how I feel about that. But Jackie, Derek Carr, we both talked about his thoughts on Gruden. We said that it was a little, you know, wasn't entirely. We didn't entirely agree with all the comments on how he, you know, tries to forgive. And yeah, it's a different situation with Gruden. But with this one, with Henry Ruggs, saying what he said, what were your thoughts about that?
I would love to see Derek Carr actually prove this, because I actually think that he's absolutely correct. I said this yesterday. Henry Ruggs, and I can't even imagine being at home and seeing your name. Hopefully he's just not turning on the TV, staying completely off social media, because people are not as forgiving. And it's interesting to me because, you know, when we talk about some of these shows and we're talking about usually specifically like sexual assault situations, we'll get these psychologists on TV time and time again saying the human brain does not fully develop until 25. And then here's this 22-year-old man who went out and did something very 22-year-old like, and just dragging his name, you know, like it's his fault, you know. But, and I'm not saying it's not his fault, but I am saying that I 100% am certain that when he got behind the wheel of that car, there was zero intent to take a life that day. Was he reckless? Absolutely. Somebody said that he was going 156 miles an hour. And for that to be done in a Corvette and he'd be able to walk, Corvettes are paper cars. And the fact that he even walked away from that, I'm sure he's got survivor's guilt. I'm sure he's got a level of guilt, not only about taking that woman's life and the life of her dog, but how that family must feel. I'm sure he's looking at his baby's mom and thinking, damn, I almost took my kid's mom away from that. Like, there's the level of guilt that this man is having. Trust me when I tell you, it's a level of guilt that none of us will be able to ever understand. Hopefully, I hope none of us ever understand how it feels to be in this situation, because we never are in this situation. But because
and we'll never be in this situation, people. If there's anything to take away from this, you know what I mean? I'm sorry, but yeah, continue. I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. There's just too many options for us, you know. And and you don't, let's say you don't have the money. Most bars, if you go back into and let them know that you are not capable to drive, they will get a taxi for you, because for liability reasons. So there's just no reason to be in this situation. Nonetheless, it did happen, and I definitely want him to be mentally okay, but I think it will take years for him to be mentally okay and a ton of therapy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. But yeah, this to me, this isn't. I get what Barani's saying. It's not the same thing as the Gruden thing. I get it, because it's a person that was connected to his team that was getting hate. That's the only similarity between the two. I think what he's saying is true because, yeah, he's going to be torn on because it's a terrible thing that he did to be going that fast, taking a life, to get behind the wheel when you know you shouldn't have been getting, like, all that's a terrible thing. But at the same time, you got to have some empathy for the kid because you know that everything we're feeling and pointing at him, he's feeling the same thing on himself. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that, you know, I would hope that Derek Carr keeps his word with that and keeps him close as he goes through everything he's about to go through. So, but yeah, that's how I'm gonna end off here on Post Up. Jackie Ray, can you close this show and tell us what we not gonna do going into this fine Thursday?
Yes, let's get into what we not gonna do. This one's actually fun because I actually I remember when Aaron Rodgers in August, I think it was, when they asked him if he was vaccinated, he said, "I'm immunized." And I thought at that time this was just him being, you know, kind of jerky because, you know, at this time we knew he didn't really want to be in Green Bay and he let all that hang out. But to the reporters who didn't follow up on that to find out if he was telling the joke or if he really was vaccinated, shame on you, because I think this whole time, a lot of us, at least myself, I thought he was vaccinated. So when he tests positive for COVID, in my head, so you guys know the different protocols. So if you're vaccinated and you test positive for COVID, all you have to do is provide 2 negative tests and then you're good. But if you're unvaccinated, not only do you have to provide those negative tests, but you're still out for 10 days regardless. So typically that means you're going to probably miss at least 2 games unless you happen to be on a bye week. So that's why there's this huge difference, because teams don't really want their players to miss games, especially if they're like as valuable as Aaron Rodgers. So this to me is funny because I posted this to my Instagram because and it was posted by So Proud to Be Black, and they always post these things to try to start these dialogues. And I love them for that. So if we could post that first, yeah. So it says both of these players are unvaccinated, but only one is demonized in the media. Now, let me just say, I've had a problem from day one about how much Kyrie is demonized, but Bradley Beal just living his best life. Nobody, and I know part of that is because he's on a team that nobody cares about. I do get that, but I think that is the problem we're having with this vaccine situation across the board, is there's too many nuances. There's too many people are being treated differently. Even in Kyrie's case in New York, freaking cops and medical staff don't have to get vaccinated, but Kyrie, you know what I mean? So it's when you start having these differences in how people are treated, that's when this visceral reaction starts happening. So we kind of brought it on ourselves. So shout out, I did have someone DM me. What is his name? Khalid Bell. He DM'd me. So I love this conversation because this is I think we all understand this. Kyrie plays in New York and the city has vaccine mandates, so he misses all of home games, essentially a part-time employee. Rodgers is in Wisconsin, no vaccine mandate. He would miss only 2 weeks until he's negative. Several high-profile NBA players aren't vaccinated but don't play in New York, so it's not an issue. Bradley Beal and Michael Porter Jr.
Right.
So I told him, I said, this is a great point. However, now you're talking about geography and not principle. These are 2 different situations. So are we really going to let geography trump principle? Because when you're talking about a professional league, it should be the same across the board, because then you get into these little nuances. It's like when you're a kid and my brother could go out and hang out till midnight, but I had to be home by 10. What the hell is that? And then my mom used to always say, well, he's a boy. What the hell is that? It's just stuff that just messes with your mind. You know what I mean? So it's just, that's the kind of things that create a problem. So when I told him, I was like, yeah, but you're talking about principle, geography versus principle, and how do you decide which one wins out? And so then he responded again, and I just want to read his last response because I guess he was surprised that, y'all, I do respond if you DM me on some actual conversation pieces. Some of y'all DM me crazy stuff. But he says, I feel that others have gotten heat in addition to Kyrie. Cole Beasley hasn't gotten much heat. We've just pointed and laughed at Cole Beasley because he's crazy with his tweets and stuff, but he doesn't really get much heat. Kirk Cousins, same to me. Cam Newton got the most heat because once he was released by the Patriots, then it became this whole narrative that one of the reasons why he wasn't getting picked up is because he wasn't vaccinated. Then he gets vaccinated and he's still out here just in the wind. He says, but I'll say he's only one with the only one with a legitimate championship opportunity. His vaccination status affects that. And I think that's what it comes down to. But we all thought that Aaron Rodgers was going to go out here and play like trash, and he out here playing really well. So now it's one of these situations like what are we talking about? So if you don't get vaccinated and you possibly have a chance at a championship, we're going to villainize you. And let me say this, and I know this might be an unpopular opinion. Shout out to Green Bay for keeping this under wraps that he wasn't vaccinated. And because that, I think, is part of it as well. Now, you can't do that if you're the Nets because there is that mandate out there. But HIPAA says you don't have to tell nobody a damn thing. So I'm not mad at this situation. I don't necessarily think that it is a black and white issue. And normally I do think things come down to a black and white issue. But I do think it's a situation where we expect certain players to fall in line and will cover a multitude of sins and make allowances for others. And that's the problem. I think when we're talking about something that affects us all, like this vaccine, right, wrong, or indifferent, whether we like it or not, there has to be some sort of blanket policy so nobody is getting treated differently. And the fact that that's not happening, that's what's creating all of these reactions. It's not some weird underlying, I don't think there's any malicious undertone to anything. I just think that everything's not the same. People are not being treated the same across the board. That's my opinion. But Chris, what do you think about all of this?
Yeah, I don't think it's a black and white thing. I think it's I agree that I don't know if it should be that way, but it is it just basically a geography thing because the same way that we weren't talking about Aaron Rodgers. The Michael Porter Jr. thing came out. We haven't heard anything about it since. Bradley Beal came out and he was very vocal about it. We didn't hear anything about him since because it just happens that where they play, it's not a big deal. You know, there's no mandate, so that's just the way the situation is. And Kyrie Irving, he plays for New York for one of the best teams in the NBA, and it was an issue. I saw the chat saying that Kyrie talking too much. What has Kyrie said outside of that one stupid live led by his high best friend that me and Jackie keep talking about? He hadn't really said much of anything else, you know. So I think it really just comes down to where it is, and also too, which is kind of unfair with Kyrie Irving, you know, because of his history and his past. They're gonna blow up anything that he does. I remember they tried to turn him not being a fan of his latest shoe that was gonna come out, and they said that Kyrie is a prima donna and he's not. No, like Kyrie can't have an opinion because they're gonna kill him for it. And I might not agree with all of his opinions, but that's just the way that Kyrie has been. So. No, I don't think this is a black and white thing. I'm with you on that. This instance is definitely not one of those. It's more of the inconsistencies and all over the placeness of what's going on with how COVID is being handled, especially between two different sports, NFL and NBA. You know, so yeah, I just think that he got away with it because he's in Wisconsin. That's simple. You know, I don't think it's anything else.
Yeah, and I see Anthony has no last name. He says now Rodgers being called a liar when he didn't lie. People claim he lied about being vaccinated when he never said that. He said
he's right.
He said, I've been immunized. That man did not lie. He's like, I've been
right.
And if you ain't gonna do your due diligence as a reporter to find out what that means, that's on you. But I did not lie. So no, y'all. What y'all not gonna do is be out here calling Aaron Rodgers a liar because he said what he said.
It was so funny.
I didn't see the initial interview, so I didn't think anything of it. And then, so now seeing it after the fact, saying that he said that, I'm like, ain't no one followed that up with another question? Like, everyone was just cool. Like, what the hell does that mean? I don't know what that means. Help me out. What the hell does that mean he's immunized? Like, what? So maybe he drank some green tea that morning. Now he feels like he's good. Like, what does that mean? Help me out.
I saw that. I saw it when it actually happened, and I thought he was just. But
I didn't.
Aaron Rodgers on this whole like I'm just talking to be talking, like I'm just throwing stuff out there. So when he said I've been immunized, I'm like, oh, that's funny because yeah, we all were when we were kids, most of us. And then I was like, wait a minute, and I thought the exact same thing you said because then it went on to the very next question. I'm like, wait, y'all know immunization and vaccination ain't the same thing, right?
Right. No one had a follow-up question. I don't know, man.
So shouts out to Aaron for just skirting that whole question. I thought that was kind of dope, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. No.
That's hilarious.
That's funny.
All right, that's all the time that we have. We will be back tomorrow on Friday. I'm so glad this week went by faster because last week just went by slow. So I'm so glad tomorrow is Friday because I get to get into my birthday weekend. I'm going to a play tonight for my birthday. The birthday shenanigans have started. I'm going to the game on Monday against Charlotte. Ready to
you're going to see LaMelo. Okay. All right. That's a good game.
By then, my new LeBron, because I'm always getting shirts made. So my new LeBron jersey should be here by then, where it has Cleveland and then Miami and then the Lakers. It's like a cut up kind of thing.
That's kind of cool, but that's a lot going on, man. I want to see how that looks.
I hope it looks okay because in my head, I'm like, yeah, this is going to look good. And then I ordered it. And then once I ordered it, I'm like, I wonder if that's going to look right. So I'll wear it as soon as it gets here. And then
we'll see. I want to see how I look. Yeah, right.
All right, you guys. In the words of my Glock, part-time fumble is out. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Y'all be safe. Y'all be good. We'll see you in the morning.
Peace.